the feints, the foot movement, the way he lands shots. He fights like a boxer. He doesn't fight like a guy who's trying to box in a celebrity boxing match.
That's sinking.
Jake
That's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200.
If I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Interview Joe Rogan has once again stirred the combat sports world with his bold prediction ahead of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis showdown. The UFC commentator didn't hold back, claiming that Jake Paul's sheer size and weight advantage could end Tank's career if the two finally step into the ring. Rogan emphasized that while Gervonta is one of the most explosive punchers in boxing, he's simply too small to handle someone with Jake's power, reach, and physicality.
My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching
it bothers the fuck out of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Rogan acknowledged that Jake Paul has legitimately developed as a fighter. He said that if Paul were any other boxer without the YouTube background, his rise would be considered remarkable because he knows how to fight, shows real ring awareness, and isn't just flailing around. But Rogan also strongly warned that the fight with Gervonta Davis carries serious risk. He pointed out that Davis is on a completely different level in terms of skill and knockout power, and that if Paul takes this lightly, it could end badly.
What do you think of this Jake Paul fella?
I always say that if Jake Paul was not a YouTube star, people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that they underestimate him because of what his background was. And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. If you look at what he's done, he's a very good boxer.
Jake Paul didn't hold back either, boldly claiming, "I would destroy him in the ring." Given the size, that raw assertion, even though wrapped in a nod of respect for Gervonta Davis's skill and patriotism, instantly ignited backlash. Critics say it erodes the seriousness of the matchup, reducing it to bravado rather than sport, with Paul towering near 200 pounds as a cruiserweight and Davis reigning at lightweight. The vast size disparity further amplifies fears that this isn't just a mismatch, it's reckless showmanship.
I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
I don't know if Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
For Tank, there's no way that this goes well for Tank Davis. Because if he wins, they go, oh yeah, world champion. Of course you were supposed to beat that YouTuber. If he struggles but wins, they go, ooh, Tank is washed. He struggled against Jake Paul. He still won, but he had a hard time. And then, of course, if he loses to Jake Paul, and him and boxing lose their credit.
Rogan's comments surfaced alongside major announcements. The bout, now slated for November 14th at the Kaseya Center in Miami, will be a 10-round exhibition. Streamed live on Netflix. The catchweight is reportedly 195 pounds, a massive leap above Davis's usual fighting weight of around 135 pounds. And well above Paul's recent cruiserweight outings.
The point still stands where it stands. Jake Paul wins this fight. I already bet Gervonta Davis in the DMs. We locked the bet. Guys, it's obvious Jake wins this fight. If you guys know anything about fighting, you know about weight classes. You know that Jake's been training for actual years. He's been locked in.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight, and now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if the main pages have posted this, but Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
Beyond Rogan, many boxing professionals and analysts have weighed in on the matchup, and their perspectives echo a mix of concern, caution, and, in some cases, outright skepticism about the legitimacy or safety of the fight.
Oh, Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Chilaquiles. Chilaquiles.
Musty energy. Musty energy. Musty energy.
Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child. Get your hand out of my pocket! Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200-something pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm going to tell y'all like this. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. The hatred.
Musty energy.
You niggas is down bad. Tank basically on the back half of his career, according to my brother Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. This man, Gervonta Tank Davis, said, I am not fighting no Shakur Stevenson. The man said, I'm not even going to rematch Lamont Sanat. The man just said, I'm not even thinking about fighting Dev Dollars, Devin the Dream, Debo Haney. I am going directly into Jake Paul. I've been told you that Tank was the black Jake Paul. Tank been the black Jake Paul. Man ain't care about legacy. Man ain't care about none of that, bro. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. Protect your fighter. It is musty at the highest level. And poor Lamont Sanat, it might be over for Lamont Sanat. He got to fight somebody. You might need to fight Gary Russell Jr. right now. Tank Davis, Lord Child, Jake Paul, boxing down bad. This about to make a lot of money. The only plus in this is that Alicia Baumgardner, a.k.a. Bomb Amy, might be on this card. I would love to see Alicia Baumgardner back on Netflix. That is a plus, and my man Lucas Body might get on there as well, and Avius Griffin. So it might be a movie as far as the undercard. Tank Davis, you down bad, bro. Boxing is absolutely disgusting and musty at the highest level. Get it together. Tank is a 30-plus-year-old prospect at the back end of his career. He on his Mayweather McGregor at the age of 30. Lord child.
Calvin Ford, head trainer for Davis, admitted that the fight is risky because of the logistics and size gap, but said, we signed the contract. We're going to make it do what it do. He focused not on the size difference, but on the gloves. The teams are currently negotiating whether lighter or heavier gloves will be worn. Ford pointed out that Davis often fights with 8-ounce gloves, and suggested Paul use 10-ounce gloves, while Tank sticks with 8 to help balance things out.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s, so he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mismatch. It's supposed to be an expedition. Why does it matter? What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got
Ford explained that at first, the team was gearing up for a rematch with Lamont Roach Jr., but when the chance to face Jake Paul emerged, they felt blessed to take it. He said the Roach rematch made sense in purely sporting terms, but the Paul fight offered far greater exposure and financial reward. Ford defended the decision by emphasizing that Gervonta Davis has earned these kinds of opportunities, and sometimes, a fighter must walk through the bigger door when it opens, even if it's not the most obvious competitive path. The proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has, however, run into major regulatory pushback. Interview: the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission declined to sanction the bout in Atlanta due to the enormous weight difference between the two fighters. Its chairman, Rick Thompson, was particularly blunt, calling the event the dumbest I've ever heard, and dismissing it as a blatant money grab. When Paul's promoters sought a weight class waiver, the commission refused, citing concerns that a mismatch of this scale was simply not a safe fight. As a result, the event was relocated to Miami.
the chairman of the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, the commission that is going to be voting whether or not to approve Tank Davis and Jake Paul. His name is Rick Thompson. He has some very choice words for Jake and Tank fight. He says it's the dumbest ish he's ever heard. It's a money grabber, and he's not okay with that. And he doesn't like the arrogance of Tank Davis and Jake Paul announcing their fight, marketing their fight, having press conferences and shit before the commission can vote whether or not they're going to approve the fight. He calls it arrogance. Their concerns, obviously, the weight discrepancy between the two. In the state of Georgia, two competitors cannot outweigh each other by more than 9 pounds. Tank and Jake Paul's team have already submitted a rule waiver request to get that rule waived. And Rick Thompson also said in this article that he is expecting the committee to put it to a vote as to whether or not they're going to approve this fight on September the 18th when they're meeting again. Also, we got some insight that USA Today tried to reach out to other members of the committee, and all of them declined to comment on what's going on. But what I do know is that the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, it's a 5-person panel that's going to be voting on this Tank Davis-Jake Paul.
So what do you think? Do you agree with Joe Rogan's take that Jake Paul's size could be too much for Tank? Or do you believe Gervonta Davis will silence the doubters once again? Share your predictions in the comments below.